Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor my father, Max Fleischmann, Jr. My dad passed away on last Saturday. We buried him Monday in the National Cemetery in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I wanted to talk to America today about a very special man. My dad was born in Astoria, New York on December 29, 1925. He grew up during the Great Depression. His stories were legend. He talked to me about dime movies and penny candy, about radio, about what it was like to grow up in the Great Depression when his father had to take in other families and live with them. This generation was coined later as the greatest generation, and now I know why. He'd have folks come and visit the house. A fellow by the name of Mo Howard and his wife Helen would come by and sing and play the piano. Mo Howard was playing in little shorts with a little-known group then called the Three Stooges. He would have a lady by the name of Gladys Weiss come and visit their home. Her brother, her late brother, was a magician and escape artist who had been deceased, called Harry Houdini. These stories were tremendous. He talked to me about his first Coca-Cola at the 1939 World's Fair and what it was like to drink that. He was an incredible man. He had one good eye. He stood 5'2", 1/2 inch. He took 7 years to graduate from high school because he quit high school to join World War II. When he showed up to serve in the United States Army, they said, "Young man, you can go home. You're what we call 4F. You've got one good eye, you've got poor skin, you're short, you can go home." He said, "No, I want to serve. I want to serve." And serve he did. They let him serve, and he went to the China, Burma, India theater. He didn't even know a war was going on in that part of the world because his brother was serving in the South Pacific. He had cousins serving in Europe. But he was 18 years old, and he went on a ship and on a plane and on a train and ended up in Burma. Over 2.5 years later, he returned home, and he went and finished high school. My dad was a hard-working man, a company man. He always showed up and gave 100% wherever he worked. But he had a lot of hard work, and he had a lot of hard luck. Sometimes his companies would go out of business that he worked at. He did not have a formal education, and education was something that stood out to him. And the reason I say that is, in honoring him today, I wanted to talk about the importance of education. I was the first person to get to go to college in my family. He married my mother in 1961. I was born in 1962. But tragically, when I was 9 years old, an only child, my mother got cancer and passed away a few years later. She lost that tragic battle. There were times he had no health insurance. There were times he didn't have a job. He'd go all over the country, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago. But one thing he insisted on, he said, "My son is going to get an education." That was so important. And I did. He'd put $20 away a week so that I could have an education. And I got to go to the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. Well, we didn't know that was not going to be the end of the story, because when I finished up at Illinois, he said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "You're bright, you have an education, but what are you going to do?" So he said, "Go to law school." And he helped me through law school and paid for law school too. So he got to see me get a college education and get a law degree. He had a lot of hard luck, but he always worked hard, and he made a great decision. He retired to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And when he retired to Chattanooga, my wife and I started a law firm. And in that law firm, we succeeded as a small business. He saw me scrimp and save and work hard 6 and 7 days a week, and he always said, "Work hard. Make sure your kids get a good education." And he did that. He was a big part in the life of my 3 sons, Chucky, Jamie, and Jeffrey. They're 24, 22, and 16 now, and they honored him this week with me at the National Cemetery. What a man. He loved this country. He served this country. He never forgot the greatest generation who gave so much for this country. And he was a good guy. He was honest to the core. And he got to live to see me elected to this great house. Y'all see, sometimes we get ratings, 6%, 10%, 11%. He loved to watch this house. He really liked it when I got to sit in the chair. He'd call all the relatives. My son is presiding over the house today. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a great country, a wonderful country. He knew that. Only in America could you do something like this, come from last to first. So I just wanted to say today, thank you to my dad, Staff Sergeant Max Fleischmann, Jr. You did well. God bless you. Thank you.